my current interest in is trying to lobby, the Lightning community for finding a way to remove the dependency on IP addresses from Lightning, because I think that's a vector of attack for the state, for regulators. It's already established that with the internet, if you see an IP, you're supposed to geo-block that IP for certain reasons and be aware of that IP in how you serve and perform businesses, etc. And so that regulation is established, and that is going to eventually get overlapped with how people can and can't use Lightning. And so I think if we can't know the IP and we don't depend on the IP, then that would be one way to improve Lightning. And I don't mean to do this like as a hack experiment. I mean like to change the bolt. Like Lightning should not use IP addresses, and this would have trade-offs as far as like the best design for it. Well, I'm not a professional engineer to offer the best design, but from what I do know about how you would do it, you probably have some latency trade-offs and complexity trade-offs. But I think it's something I'd like to hear people talk about more, because I see this as an attack vector, and I see it because of how regulations read and things we're having to worry about as an LSP and as a business.
Yeah, that is very interesting. What has been the reception among Lightning developers in the community that you've spoken with about this idea of removing IP addresses from the protocol?
I've only just kind of started, planting the seed with some people. I think that, I mentioned it yesterday in the LDK call. There's a biweekly LDK call, and we use LDK in Bitkit. I mentioned it in there, and Matt Carvalho seemed to not be allergic to the idea so much as he pointed out some legal considerations with IPs, and that I told him my quick idea of how I might suggest doing it, and he said that would make sense, and that if we ever want to talk about it more directly, that he'd be okay with looking it over or giving his thinking on it. I don't know that it's something he's actually worried about, or we didn't talk about it deeply, and nobody committed to anything. It's just kind of planting the seed of the idea. I've talked a little bit with Christian Decker about it as well in private conversations. So I think that nobody has said I'm crazy, but nobody has said, yeah, we need to like fix this, so it's tough I can't really say what people think about it so much as it's a concern for me.
Fair enough. This is great. I mean, this was one of the things that I remember from our last conversation. If listeners haven't checked it out, I think it's episode 8. I remember leaving that conversation thinking like, man, this guy's he's thinking different ways from everyone else. It's not the stuff I see on Bitcoin Twitter every day. He's bringing up new ideas, and I really appreciate that. So unfortunately, I can't offer any feedback on your idea of removing IP addresses. I don't have that technical background, but I do appreciate the new idea.
At least I appreciate that you respond positively to such behavior from me, because most of the time I'm actually getting the opposite. Most of the time people do not like the way I think or the ideas I propose. They think that when I say something that doesn't cheerlead Bitcoin, that I'm attacking Bitcoin or that I'm promoting shitcoins or something. But it's just like I care about Bitcoin a lot. And so I'm always trying to think about like what is the most important thing that we should be worried about and working on and providing.